Steel groans and ice cracks under enormous pressure as a massive ship slowly pushes forward through a frozen ocean, thousands of miles away from any city, road, or human settlement. This is not a vacation. It's not a cruise. This is survival, repeated every day. Inside a vessel that runs on a nuclear reactor, cutting a path through a world that refuses to bend. The cold outside is terrifying, but the isolation and the long months of darkness are even more relentless, testing the limits of the human mind as much as the human body. The Arctic is not a place you visit. It is a place that visits you back, slowly and quietly, forcing itself into your life and leaving marks you can feel long after you've returned home. Inside a nuclear icebreaker, the crew becomes part of a strange, self-contained world, a floating city of steel and machines, where routines are rigid, dangers are constant, and comfort is measured in warm meals and steady hums from the reactor deep inside the hull. Their world is dominated by white ice and dark shadows, punctuated only by the low, constant vibrations of engines and the occasional crack of ice under immense pressure, reminding everyone that this is no ordinary ocean. Life on board is a mixture of monotony and tension, of small victories and constant awareness that everything can go wrong in a second. Quarters are cramped, cabins tiny, often shared with another crew member. Bunks are stacked like shelves, lockers barely fit your belongings, and walls are thin enough that you hear every footstep, every cough, every door that swings shut in the middle of the night. There is no real privacy, there is no escape, and yet somehow, this becomes home for weeks or months at a time, as the ship drifts across the frozen Arctic seas, slowly carving a path through impossible ice. Outside, the cold is brutal. Temperatures drop well below minus 30 degrees Celsius. The wind is relentless, cutting through layers of clothing like a knife, and exposed skin can freeze in minutes. Even simple tasks become dangerous. Walking on the deck is a calculated risk. Metal becomes brittle, water turns into sheets of ice, and one slip could send you sliding into the freezing ocean. The Arctic is quiet, but the silence is heavy, oppressive, and constantly reminds you that the environment out there will not forgive mistakes. But inside, the ship is warm. Heat hums through the corridors. Meals are served hot and on schedule. The reactor deep inside the hull generates the energy that keeps the engines running and the lights on, powering the entire ship without ever needing fuel for months. This reactor is the heart of the Icebreaker, a quiet but persistent presence that demands respect. It does not roar or glow like in movies. It simply works, constantly, powering the ship through ice thick enough to stop ordinary vessels, and reminding everyone on board that this is no ordinary mission. Crew members have very specific roles. Engineers monitor the reactor, making sure it runs safely. Deckhands brave the cold on the exterior, inspecting the hull and making sure the ice does not damage vital parts of the ship. Navigators chart courses through shifting ice flows, using a mix of radar, satellite data, and experience. Cooks make sure the crew gets enough calories to survive the extreme cold. Every person on board is part of a system, and one mistake can ripple outward, creating serious problems for everyone. Time behaves differently aboard a nuclear icebreaker. Most ships have a sense of day and night, a rhythm set by the sun. Not here. During the polar night, the sun disappears completely for weeks or months, leaving the world in almost permanent darkness. Without natural light, sleep schedules break down, fatigue builds, and the mind struggles to separate day from night. Artificial lights are used to simulate morning and evening, but the body notices. Mood swings, fatigue, and irritability become common. Crew members develop coping mechanisms to keep their minds intact, like movie nights, card games, and small celebrations to remind themselves that life is still moving outside the routines of the ship. Isolation is perhaps the hardest part. Communication with the outside world is limited. Email can be delayed. Calls home are brief. News arrives slowly. While the ship continues moving, life elsewhere continues without you, and the knowledge of missing out can feel heavy. For months, the Icebreaker becomes a self-contained universe, a place where your actions matter more than anything else because every system, every machine, every decision depends on human attention. In a way, the isolation makes you hyper-aware of everything. Every sound, every vibration, every change in temperature is noticed immediately because you learn quickly that small issues become big problems fast. The work on board is constant. The ice never waits. Crew members must monitor shifting ice flows, adjust courses, and anticipate unexpected changes in thickness or density. The ship is heavy, but ice is unpredictable. One wrong maneuver could trap the vessel or damage the hull. Equipment must be maintained in freezing temperatures. Lubricants freeze. Electronics behave strangely. Even climbing a ladder on deck can become life-threatening when the wind pushes you and ice makes surfaces slippery. Every task requires careful attention and vigilance. Yet, amidst the hard work and constant vigilance, there are moments of awe. From the deck, polar bears sometimes appear on distant ice floes, massive, silent, and watching. Seals lounge near cracks in the ice, curious but cautious. And at night, when the conditions are right, the aurora borealis can light the sky in waves of green and purple, moving so slowly and beautifully that it almost feels unreal, like a natural spectacle made just for the crew who spend months in darkness. These moments offer brief reprieves from the tension, reminding everyone on board of the extraordinary world they are navigating. Meals play a critical role beyond simple nutrition. The galley is one of the most important places on the ship. Hot, filling meals give warmth and energy, and they also provide a sense of normalcy. Routine breakfasts, lunches, and dinners mark the day in a world where days and nights blend together. Coffee and tea flow constantly, offering small comfort against the endless cold. Sometimes special meals are prepared for celebrations or as treats, giving the crew something to look forward to amid the monotony. Exercise is another anchor for mental health. Small gyms, weights, and treadmills are common, and crew members use them to burn off stress, keep their bodies strong, and maintain a sense of control over their environment. On some icebreakers, there are even saunas, which sound like luxury, but in reality are essential. The heat relaxes muscles stiff from cold and tension, and for a few minutes the outside world ceases to exist entirely. Safety is drilled constantly. Fire drills, reactor emergency procedures, and hull breach simulations happen repeatedly until responses become second nature. Fire is particularly feared because fighting it in freezing conditions is extremely difficult. Water freezes, smoke behaves differently, and escape routes are limited. Medical emergencies are similarly serious. The onboard doctor can treat injuries or illnesses, but there is no hospital. And evacuation can take days or be impossible. The crew must manage with what they have, and every member is aware of that reality. Social dynamics are intense in such close quarters. There is no escape from anyone, so conflict, alliances, and camaraderie form quickly. Hierarchy is respected, and empathy is necessary. Crew members learn who needs space, who responds to jokes, who relies on routine for stability. Shared hardship creates bonds stronger than most people experience in cities. Moments of fear, stress, and exhaustion reveal personalities in ways impossible in everyday life. Despite the constant challenges, the Arctic offers moments of wonder. Polar bears, seals, and the aurora are only part of it. Snow and ice stretch endlessly, reminding everyone of the scale and raw power of nature. These sights, however fleeting, balance the hardships and provide motivation to keep pushing through the monotony, the cold, and the darkness. The icebreaker itself is a marvel, both machine and home. Its power comes from the reactor that never sleeps. Its path through ice is determined by human skill and intuition. Maintenance, navigation, and operations are constant and precise. Every emergency drill, every routine check, every calculation matters. Simple mechanical issues can quickly become dangerous if not managed carefully. A frozen valve, a misread ice thickness, or a delayed response can cascade into a serious situation. The margin for error is almost non-existent. Climate change adds another layer of unpredictability. Ice is thinner in some areas and thicker in others, and weather patterns shift rapidly. Shipping lanes that were once reliable now require constant monitoring, Scientific missions, research, and supply routes all depend on icebreakers to navigate safely, which increases the responsibility on the crew. They must combine historical knowledge and experience with real-time observation to make decisions that impact not only the ship, but the environment around it. The life of a crew member aboard a nuclear icebreaker is paradoxical. There is monotony, but also moments of adrenaline. There is isolation, but also intense social bonds. There is danger, but also awe. The Arctic teaches patience, resilience, and adaptability. Crew members learn to read the ice, anticipate its movement, and respond to emergencies with precision. They witness the fragility of life and the strength of human cooperation in ways impossible elsewhere. After months on board, returning to civilization can be disorienting. Streets feel loud, crowds feel overwhelming, sleep can be difficult. Choices that seemed normal before feel excessive. Some crew members even miss the clarity and structure of life on board, where every action mattered and routines dictated stability. Yet most will sign up again, drawn back by the pay, the prestige, or the deeper reason. Life aboard a nuclear icebreaker strips existence down to essentials, showing how much people can endure, adapt, and rely on each other. A nuclear icebreaker is more than a ship. It is a floating world, a moving test of endurance, skill, and teamwork. The Arctic does not welcome humans. It tolerates them briefly and only if they are prepared. Every mission changes those who live aboard, sharpening instincts, strengthening bonds, and leaving marks that last long after the hull has left the ice behind. And through it all, the reactor hums, ice cracks, and steel groans as the ship continues forward, waiting for the next crew to step inside and seal the door behind them. If you wanted to see another extreme place where humans test their limits, watch the next video on screen.